News Midday. We are going to continue following the breaking news we brought you at the top of the hour. A tip leading authorities to an area in Williamson County with possible remains. Let's go now to Williamson County Sheriff Robert Chody with more details.
That actually leads off to the creek area. The tip was not only specific to the fact that there's possibly remains of a human from in that area, and the name Rachel Cooke was brought up one time. We have no evidence to indicate other than that one tip that Rachel Cooke was involved. I do want to remind the press and the public that there are many unsolved cases in Williamson County that it could be if there is such evidence in that location. I can tell you right now we have a 15 by 20 foot area dug out about 18 inches deep right now and still digging, and we have nothing as far as any human remains at this point, and we'll reassess at a certain time when we feel necessary. We are working heavily with the FBI, specifically out of San Antonio and Austin. They have been extreme helpful partners in helping us with this, because without them we wouldn't be to the level we are now. We do not know how long we'll be out here. We're just waiting to see what evidence we have. During the tip, when we came out here to locate, to see if there was any value to the information of the tip, we brought 4 dogs out here, the cadaver dogs, and all 4 dogs indicated that they alerted a scent of human remains. Some people will say that's not reliable, but I felt that we had a duty to go and use all our resources to make sure, and if this is not a location, whether it's Rachel Cooke or any other person that we are trying to locate, that we can check this one off the box and move on. I feel we owe it to the families of Williamson County. That was one of my promises as I campaigned, and I'm staying true to it. I would ask the public and the media to not contact Janet Cooke or other families involved in the cold cases, because all this does is bring them up at a higher level and a lower level, and my intent is not to get them excited. I am keeping them informed of everything we have when we have it, if I think it's directly involving their case. I had talked to Janet Cooke yesterday and told her about it. She has called me today and said, hey, the media is blowing up my phone. I've instructed her, and I'll instruct the other families, if they're watching this, if they get any call from the media, to refer them to the sheriff's office, because we're going to take care of the press releases.
Is the discovery related in any way to the recent cold case unit that you guys started up?
It actually is not. Ironically enough, I was actually in a meeting this morning with our new cold case unit. It's the first time we all sat down together. It's roughly a dozen retired officers from around the country that live in the Williamson County area, with the exception of one lives in the Burnett County area. And I actually updated them because they weren't even aware of what is occurring behind us until now. We currently have some of those reserve deputies. They're not even sworn in yet, but we're updating them on those cases as well as the other cases that you probably know about or don't know about. So, but it does not have anything to do with the cold case, but they will be part of the team and tasked with some of the resources that we do.
You said it doesn't have anything to do with the cold case unit. Does that mean this person that you received information about, or this is a more recent case? Or?
The information we received on this tip had nothing to do with the cold case. This was an unrelated case that a deputy on the street got information from somebody and followed through and notified his chain of command, and we said we feel like it was a duty that we had to respond and look, and that's what we're doing. This, I want to remind everybody, this could be nothing, but if that was your family member that possibly, in Janet's case or any of the other cases we're dealing with, you would want us to look and check the box, and that's exactly what we're doing. And that doesn't matter what resources we're using, and when we have partnerships with the FBI like we do here, it's extremely helpful that we can finish things like this and knock it out and move on to the next case or the next clue if that's what we have to do.
And you said somebody mentioned Rachel Cooke once?
Yes, that tip mentioned Rachel Cooke one time. That's the only information we have. But again, I urge everyone to understand, anybody can say anything during an initial investigation, but we as a law enforcement office have a duty to check it out.
Have you brought anybody in for questioning?
No, sir. Nobody's been brought in for any questioning or anything at this point.
And this property, what does it have to do with?
The property that's behind me has nothing to do with what's going on behind the scenes. It just happens to be the location of where we got the tip.
You said that the person who called the tip and said a crime had been committed in this area?
They didn't specifically, I won't go into specifics what they said about the crime. They just showed the location and said, hey, this is where I believe the body could be at. And that's all I'll say at that point with the case. And we are not going 18 inches at this point, and with that 15 by 20 rectangle, we haven't received any evidence that indicates that there's a human body there at this point. But again, we could get just another inch or two and get something. So we also have on scene an anthropologist from the University of Texas that is well versed in the Rachel Cooke case as well and other cases, and she's come out here to volunteer and help us out as well. So we're taking it serious, folks. We wanted make sure this is not anybody of Rachel Cooke or any of the other cases. I think sometimes the Rachel Cooke case, because it's high profiled, if we see a carcass or something or a cadaver dog hits on something, we automatically assume it's Rachel Cooke. And I know we have a tip that said Rachel Cooke in this case, but it really could be something else too. It could be one of the other families that we're trying to deal with or somebody none of us know about. So we're just doing our due diligence to do the best we can.
How close is the search area to the river?
It's probably at 15 feet off the riverbank there, and we're going to try to see if we can let the media come a little closer to get some shots, but we won't let you down there now at this point. I know we were trying to let some in earlier, but some things have changed. We just want to make sure we maintain the credibility of the crime scene.
So how far have they dug down now?
18 inches, roughly. And then we'll reassess when the team feels like they should, and then determine, because we're starting to hit some rock, some shale, and we'll have to determine what's the best course of action and if we've exhausted all our methods at this point.
Last question.
Is this a good start? I mean, because in 17, the years that have passed, closer to the river, a lot of things, it's important to have the anthropologist there to look over and see what might have shifted and how this tip came in. And
well, what it does is if we get an animal carcass, because from what I'm being told, if we hit an animal bone or something, they can identify, hey, that's a chicken leg bone or a chicken bone of something. If it's just a fragment, they can say, hey, just keep going. That's nothing to be concerned about. Because I'm not an expert in bones. If I saw a chipping of a fragment of a bone, I might get excited and think we're onto something. Where the anthropologist, a professional, could say, hey, you're overreacting in this case. Just keep digging. So that's one of the main reasons we brought her out here and asked her to come out here.
How far away are we from the creek to here?
We're probably about, so where you see the fence, it actually is a drop-off almost, kind of a sharp drop-off, and then it's probably 20, 30 feet high from that point. And but you'll be able to see the people that are digging, the investigators and detectives that are digging, and that's what we're going to try to do here in a moment, okay? All right. Again, I would appreciate if you don't contact the families, just because she's just going to refer you to us.
All right, you've been listening to a live press conference at Williamson County with Williamson County Sheriff Robert Chody. A tip led the Sheriff's Department to a search potentially dealing with the case of Rachel Cooke, who went missing back in 2002. Again, as he just said, they have found nothing at this point, but the search continues. Of course, we'll have the very latest on our social media channels, our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and of course, KVUE.com. And Tony Plahetsky's working this story as well, and we'll have the very latest for you on the news at 5 and 6 tonight. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, that interview with the Flatwater